Wales. A country taking tech to new heights. Our industry is booming. It shapes and innovates the world. It pushes beyond limits and defines progress. It produces a world-class workforce that competes on a global stage. Technology affects every aspect of our lives. We are faster, better, stronger. Wales is ready to stand up. We are a driving force, creating technology that will be used for generations. This is Wales Tech Week 2021.
Good morning and welcome to day 4 of Wales Tech Week. I'm Avril, Managing Director of Technology Connected, the network for the technology industry in Wales, and the creator of Wales Tech Week. We have a fascinating lineup of activity across our 7 festival stages today, including our main focus on fintech, cyber, marine energy renewables, and routes to investment. And here on our premier stage for our opening keynote, it's a great privilege for us to be joined by Lord Gerry Grimstone, Minister for Investment at the Department of International Trade and the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Lord Gerry Grimstone was appointed on the 18th of March 2020 as the Minister for Investment, jointly at the DIT and at BEIS. He also has ministerial responsibility for the Office for Investment in 10 Downing Street. He is DIT's representative for all business in the House of Lords. His ministerial duties in BEIS include responsibility for certain sectors, including steel, automotive, and the professional and business services sector. Before entering politics, Lord Gerry had an extensive business career. He's the immediate past chairman of Barclays Bank plc and also of Standard Life Aberdeen, the UK's largest savings and investment business. He was an independent non-executive board member of Deloitte North South Europe, a member of Deloitte's Global Independent Non-Advisory Committee, and also of their UK Oversight Board. He was a senior advisor to Fenchurch Advisory Partners and was a member of the International Advisory Network of Natixis, the French financial services group. He was a senior advisor in Global Leader in Blue Prism, a global leader in robotic process automation. Within the UK, Lord Gerry has had a long history of serving the Ministry of Defence, spanning 20 years. He sat on the Defence Board, chaired by the Defence Secretary as its lead non-executive. The Defence Board is the senior decision-taking body in the MOD, and Lord Gerry served under 6 Defence Secretaries. From 2012 to 2015, Lord Gerry served as chairman of the City UK, the representative body for the financial and professional services industry in the UK. He was a member of Her Majesty's Treasury's Financial Services Trade and Investment Board. Lord Gerry has been deeply involved in UK-China and UK-India relations. He chaired the City UK CBBC China Market Advisory Group, which helped coordinate financial and related professional services activity between the UK and China. He chaired Heng'an Standard Life, an insurance and pensions company with branches in over 80 cities throughout China. In India, he sat for many years on the board of HDFC Life, which is one of India's largest assurance companies. He was the UK chairman of the India-UK Financial Partnership and also of the UK-India CEO Forum, both of which were set up by the Indian and British governments. In the Gulf, Lord Gerry was the board advisor to the Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank. He also sat on the board of Investcorp, a leading global provider and manager of alternative investment products, headquartered in Bahrain. He chaired Aberdeen Standard Investcorp Infrastructure Partners, which invests in social and core infrastructure projects in Gulf Cooperation Council countries. In Saudi Arabia, he led for the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince the private sector group advising the Kingdom on corporatisation and privatisation. He was a previous senior investment banker at Schroders and ran major businesses in London, New York and Asia Pacific. He specialised in mergers and acquisitions and capital raising for major companies worldwide. Prior to that, he was official in Her Majesty's Treasury, where he was responsible for privatisation and policy towards state-owned enterprises. Lord Grimstone of Boscobel was knighted in 2014 for public service, particularly to defence and business. Good morning, Lord Grimstone, and a very warm welcome to Wales and our International Wales Tech Week.
Thank you very much, Avril. You've made me blush listening to all of that. So thank you for setting all that out. I suppose the easiest way to introduce myself is to say that I'm the government salesman. My job is to bring investment into the United Kingdom, every part of the United Kingdom. And also a big part of my job is trade policy. And as you know, we want to put the United Kingdom at the centre of a network of free trade agreements to make it easier for our businesses to export trade overseas. And perhaps something we might be coming to later is how important digital is in the context of that. But great to see you and great to be with you all this morning.
Thank you very much, and it's a great pleasure for us to have you with us this morning. Before we start, if I may ask, could you give us a brief overview of what your role actually is entailing?
Yes, certainly. Well, I suppose you look at one of my typical days. I'll be speaking to investors from all around the world, and of course, one of the advantages of the terrible pandemic we've been living through, the worst thing that's happened in my lifetime, is the ability to communicate with people easily. So I'll be talking to investors from around the world. I'll be talking to CEOs and chairmen of companies, encouraging them to invest in the UK. And of course, that's not just large companies, because the tech companies are an incredible source of innovation from us. I'm talking to international partners about our trade agreements. And just really trying to use my practical experience, because it's a great advantage in this role to have come from business into this role. It helps me understand what business thinks, what investors think, and to make sure that our policies throughout the United Kingdom are as helpful as possible to business, as helpful as possible to exporters, and as helpful as possible to people who want to invest in the UK.
Lovely, thank you. So fundamentally, you're dealing with a lot of business and a lot of industry, but fundamentally, how important is the technology industry in Wales, and for that matter, the rest of the UK, to the UK economy, particularly in this post-Brexit and post-pandemic era?
It's incredibly important. I think there's nearly 3 million jobs in the UK in the digital economy. I think that 45,000 of those jobs are in Wales. Wales has got a great ecosystem in tech. I'd call out cyber, data, fintech and insurtech as being very strong subsectors within that. And very interesting, a fact that I found very interesting is that a majority of the price comparison websites are located in Wales, which I guess shows that the Welsh are very savvy shoppers and want to get the best value for their money. So it's a great ecosystem. People want to invest in it, I think, which is a very interesting and important fact. Because the UK is so innovative in tech, because we're so good at startups, the question I'm often asked by investors is, how can we go ahead and invest in these techs? And of course, also they're a very, very important part of our export offer.
Yes, thank you. And it's interesting that you should mention this specifically, because today at Wales Tech we are focusing on fintech and investment and cyber, so that fits very nicely indeed. Now, over the past year, the DIT has launched several initiatives which places technology businesses at the heart of UK trade. Could you share with us a little in terms of the reaction to these initiatives and why the focus on tech was chosen, and really what these initiatives will mean for UK tech businesses?
Yes, certainly. It's very important, I think, to go with the grain, with what buyers want, with what buyers around the world want, with what investors want around the world. And the fact is, they want access to British tech. But having said that, a lot of tech companies are, they may not be fully expert in that. A lot of them may just need a helping hand to start them on the exporting journey. And we were very pleased last year to set up what we call our Tech Export Academy. And that, for example, it provided advice to 30 tech companies who were looking to work on smart cities throughout the Asia Pacific region. Interestingly, there were two excellent Welsh companies on that cohort, Awen Collective and Vortex IoT, and I just tallied it up before I came on to do this. I think we managed to support over 300 commercial engagements throughout Asia Pacific for these companies. We very much want to build on that success, and I'm very pleased to announce today that we're just launching our technology growth program, and this is going to expand the scope of the Tech Export Academy by working with more high potential companies and targeting additional global markets. We have DIT people expert in trade and investment in over 100 countries around the world. And I just want to stress the fact that network is open to everybody. And these officials provide market intelligence. They open doors for tech companies to meet new customers. So we're looking forward to that program, being successful and also making a real impact with Welsh tech companies, helping them to export overseas.
Okay, well, that's really interesting, and thank you for that. And I'm sure that our Welsh tech industry will be very keen and eager to be able to look at how they are expanding their opportunities, particularly overseas. And I think this is one of the key things about Wales Tech, is putting Wales Tech on the global stage. So any support that we can get, for our industry and being able to help them, A, gain investment, and also B, open up market opportunities for them overseas, I'm sure will be much appreciated. I think the most important thing is that we make sure that all of our companies are aware of these opportunities, and make sure that they get all the help and assistance that is available for them to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. You mentioned there Avril, which is in cyber, and Vortex, which is in IoT, two very different types of Welsh businesses. And I think it's really critical that we understand that the plethora of expertise that we have in technology in Wales, whether it be right the way from, compound semiconductors, blockchain, cyber, data, right the way through. And this week here at Wales Tech Week, we have seen some of our most innovative tech sectors, our tech organisations, working across a lot of sectors. And there are fantastic opportunities for investors in the tech sector in Wales. What's DIT doing to bring investment into Wales?
It's a very good question. Well, I think the important thing is that we mustn't be too modest. I mean, I'm a great believer we have to be, the government, the officials, all of us working in this area, we have to be entrepreneurial. We have to be muscular, and I mean, it's a very competitive sport, attracting investment, and we have to make sure that we're presenting our companies, large and small, in absolutely the best possible light. This is one of the reasons why the Prime Minister opened up just at the end of last year our new office for investment in 10 Downing Street. And the purpose of that was to make sure that we use the power of the centre, to attract investment into every corner of the United Kingdom. Investors, the big investors in particular, find it very useful to have a single front door that they can go through to find out what the opportunities are. And I like to say to myself that there's probably no better front door to have globally than one which has got number 10 painted on it in large letters outside. Now, particularly in Wales, we're opening up our new trade and investment hub in Cardiff. That will serve the whole of Wales. The Office for Investment will have someone, will have a direct person in that hub, working with them, and we're going to use that to really unearth these tremendous investment opportunities in Wales and present them to an international audience. It's very interesting, a survey I saw lately of tech companies, when we asked what they wanted most, the reply that often came back, we want help in sourcing investment from overseas, and we want help in sourcing export opportunities from overseas. And it's our job to do that. To do that properly, we have to understand the companies, we have to help them present themselves in the best possible light, and then we have to bring them together with the investors, and hopefully money and opportunities flow from that.
High potential opportunities in Wales. Can you share a little bit more detail on that and the discussions that have been taking place?
Yes, well, we have this program called our High Potential Opportunities Program, and what this does is it identifies specific investment opportunities across the UK which would benefit from targeted promotion. We focus on emerging subsectors, particularly technologies and other strategic opportunities with high potential. And what our teams do is to work in collaboration with local partners and the devolved administrations to identify these high potential opportunities, to develop propositions, to implement promotion plans, and then showcase those opportunities to foreign investors. We've been working very closely with the Welsh Government to develop, in particular, 2 new high potential opportunities in Wales, and we're going to be promoting those through our global network with the aim of securing real high quality investment. And we're going to be promoting, for example, opportunities associated with the compound semiconductor cluster in Southeast Wales, a really important cluster, which I think deserves to be better known than it is, and also some fantastic med tech opportunities in South Wales. Just coming back to the compound semiconductor cluster, we reckon it's the world's first semiconductor cluster. We invested over £25 million in it in June 2020, and we really hope that these investments will help create the technologies of tomorrow. Really, really important that we're keeping Wales and the whole of the UK in the forefront of global tech innovation.
Thank you. Yes, and the compound semiconductor cluster and both medtech have featured heavily previously in this week of Wales Tech Week. So let's just talk about investment, if we may. You're obviously talking to a lot of investors across the world. What are you getting back in terms of what technologies are particularly attractive to tech investors right now? What are they looking for?
Yes, certainly. Well, of course, it changes over time, but if I was to, call out some of the really important ones at the moment, fintech is very important. We had $4.5 billion of VC investment raised in 2020, and very interesting, and people don't always know this. The UK is second in the world for venture capital investment into fintech, and we're the only country ahead of us is the US. People think of Silicon Valley. I want them to think of Welsh Valleys as well when they're looking at investment in fintech. The second most important at the moment is probably health tech. Because the pandemic has given a real focus on life sciences and on health tech. And then also you've got, transportation, energy, security, particularly cyber security. And we've seen, great increases in VC investment in that. We reckon that we're third in the world for impact tech investment. That's more than doubled since 2018. And some of these deals are, really sizable. I mean, for example, there was a £150 million deal in 2020 for River Simple. That's a fantastic Welsh manufacturer of hydrogen-powered electric vehicles, and that's contributed to a really record year of investment for climate tech in Wales. So I really think there's huge potential in our deep tech investments. We have tremendous universities, tremendous R&D, tremendous entrepreneurs, and we just have to link this together and to make sure it's properly presented to investors.
Yes, thank you. And interestingly, you've emphasised there those areas where we in Wales here have some real strength in fintech, in compound, in cyber, and in medtech. So it's really good to see that working together we can look at how we can help the industry as a whole grow. But one of the key things that we hear within the tech community here in Wales is that the lack of skilled talent and investment in technology. Now, you've covered a little bit about investment coming in, but what else as a government do you feel that you can do to be able to help with these key challenges, which are so fundamental for new starts, but also that new start to scaling business that we want to be able to go on the export route, want to be able to attract new investment. If they haven't got the right people, it really is a huge challenge for them.
No, look, certainly, and I completely recognise that. Of course, we have to, first of all, start at home. We have to make sure that our skills programs, our educational programs, our retraining programs are providing the really critical people for these new companies. Really important that our young people take advantage of that. And people throughout the whole of their careers, if their careers are moving on, do consider tech. We have to make it easy for people to come in from overseas. We've got our global entrepreneur program, and that supports foreign companies to set up their headquarters in the UK. I'm quite pleased that I think in just this last year, 70 innovative companies relocated to the UK. They've created a good number of high-value jobs. That program is an endorsing body for the startup and innovator visas, which help bring people in from overseas. But we've just got to keep on working at this. You can have the most brilliant ideas in the world, but if you don't have the people, if you can't access the people to help you grow, you can't take full advantage of that. So I think both for the UK government and the Welsh government, these have to be and continue to be real priorities for us.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, with the speed with which technology continues to move, the demand for skills is only going to increase, not decrease. So it's something that we really must address quickly. I'm very conscious that we're coming to the end of our time. So what I would like to do, if I may, is just, ask you, talking directly to the UK and the Welsh technology industry, is there anything that you would particularly like to add or particularly like to say, in bringing this interview to a close for us this morning?
Well, look, I think we've all been through terribly difficult times over the last year and a half. I don't think things are ever going to go back to, quite what they were before. Some of the changes that we're seeing, people working in a hybrid fashion, working from home, some of the ways of communication that we are seeing, people's habits have changed during the pandemic. And when you have times of change like that, it really does open up opportunities. So we must be really out there trying to grasp those opportunities. We have a very ambitious free trade agreement program. We've signed agreements now with well over 60 companies. Latest one, which we agreed in principle, was Australia last week. And I mention that because all the new agreements in free trade have specific digital chapters. And these chapters make it easy for digital data to cross borders. It makes it easier for startups to operate in different countries. Makes it easier for people to travel. So you have to bring all this together. And I really encourage, I think this is a fantastic thing, this work you're doing this week. We've all got to work together. We've all got to, use our skills. We've got to present them in the best possible way. And we've got to use this to really bring investment into Wales, because what you get if you have investment, you get jobs, you get economic growth. We have to help Welsh tech companies export, because what you get if you win an export order, you get new customers, you get economic flows coming in. And I really believe that we're to, bounce back properly from the pandemic and, and bounce back better. We have to really concentrate on investment and trade. And I think there's no more important sector than the tech sector to concentrate on to do those things.
Thank you. Yes, I think what you say completely resonates, because we know that if you've got a very vibrant, growing tech sector and you've got very vibrant, growing tech companies, then you know that that's a really good foundation for building a successful economy and a successful, prosperous economy, and making sure that, that we can have tech for all. And I think that really is the key thing, is that, whilst the technology industry itself can drive forward with its exports and investment, the whole technology as a sector, looking after other sectors and making sure that we're completely digitally inclusive as a nation, I think really is exceptionally important as well. Lord Grimstone, I have to say thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. It's been exceptionally interesting. It's great to see the new initiatives which are being developed, and it's great to see that we understand that we must be able to work together, both across the Welsh Government and the UK Government, for us to ensure that we have a prosperous and a growing and a vibrant technology community here in Wales and across the UK. Thank you very much indeed for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Rewatch all of our sessions online. Thank you to our partners.